is Taured. Jansfer started arguing. He said the kingdom of Taured is 1,000 years old, and he'd never heard of anything called Andorra, which he thought sounded fake. Jansfer then said he had traveled through this very airport twice this month and never had a problem. He had stamps in his passport to prove it. Now, this was easy enough to check. The customs agents confirmed that the stamps were authentic, but they still weren't convinced of his story. Jansfer took out his wallet to show the agents. As a business traveler, he carried different currencies with him. The customs agents examined the money. He had currency from Japan and several European nations, but he also had money from Taured, which seemed like real currency except for the fact that there's no such place. He also had traveler's checks. Unfortunately for him, the checks were issued by a bank that didn't exist. The agents started to suspect Jansfer might be up to no good, maybe a criminal or a spy. They asked where he was staying. Jansfer gave them the number of his hotel and assured the agents he had been on the phone with them that morning making his reservation. They called the hotel, which was there, but they had no reservation under this man's name. Now, the hotel could have made a mistake. So Jansfer instructed the agents to call his office in Tokyo. Surely this would settle the matter. They called. The company had no record of an employee named Broderick Jansfer. The man from Taured and the customs agents were stunned. They had no idea what to do. Then the phone in the corner of the room rang. An agent answered, listened for a moment, then turned to Jansfer and said, "Sir, you're coming with us." The customs agents were stuck. They had never seen anything like this before, but they couldn't let the man go without investigating. They confiscated Broderick Jansfer's passport, his money, and other documents. They told him that he wasn't being arrested, but he was being detained until this matter could be cleared up. He was put up in a hotel near the airport for the night. 2 armed guards were stationed outside his door at all times. And he was instructed that the phone would only work to call room service. The evening passed without incident. Jansfer complained of a headache, but he hoped a meal might make him feel better. He ordered room service and settled in for the night. The following morning, the customs agents called Jansfer's room, but got no answer. The guards were instructed to open the door. When they entered the room, the man from Taured was gone. The room was spotless. The bed was made. There was no sign that anyone had eaten a meal, or that anyone had even been there. The guards were chewed out by their supervisor for letting this man slip away, but they insisted that they did not leave their post. The windows didn't open, and the door was the only way in or out. Aside from a hotel employee delivering food, nobody went in or came out of that room all night. Now, back at the airport, Customs was still investigating. When they went to retrieve Jansfer's documents, even though they were stored in a locked security office, they were gone. The passport, wallet, checkbook, everything vanished. It's as if the man from Taured never existed. And word of the investigation quickly went up the chain of command in the Japanese government. To avoid embarrassment, the story was censored, classified, and everyone involved was told to never speak of it. In the years since the man from Taured arrived and disappeared, there have been a lot of theories. One was that he was an intelligence agent working undercover. His passport and documents were fake to ensure that the government he worked for would never be revealed. And this was the 1950s. The Cold War was gearing up and spies were everywhere. A highly trained covert operative might be able to find a way out of that hotel room without alerting the guards. But it doesn't explain how his documents disappeared from a secure room in the airport. The theory that's most popular is that the man from Taured was actually from an alternative universe. Somehow during his flight, he crossed over into this one. Nothing on the flight changed that much that he noticed. He was just unaware that the country he was from no longer existed. And that night, when he was complaining of a headache, it could have been our 2 realities trying to get back into sync. And when they did, the man and his belongings went back to the correct universe. And maybe, at the very same time in the other universe, a businessman from Andorra was having a difficult day. And maybe